On today's show, the Phoenix Suns fall in back-to-back fashion once the Oklahoma City Thunder, tonight to the Denver Nuggets. Does it mean they're not as good as maybe we once thought? I'll tell you why that's not true on this edition of Locked On Phoenix Suns.
You are Locked On Suns, your daily Phoenix Suns podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, and welcome in to yet another edition of Locked On Phoenix Suns. My name is Benjamin Garcia, host of The Ben Garcia Show, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8 a.m. on YouTube, where we talk all things Arizona sports, and a credentialed Phoenix Suns media member covering your team every day here at the #1 sports podcast network, the Locked On Sports Podcast Network. Wherever you may be listening, however you may be listening, thank you so much for making myself and Locked On Phoenix Suns a part of your day. Remember, Locked On Phoenix Suns is free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. So click that follow or subscribe button to do it. Thousands of Suns fans have already done. Become an everydayer and get Locked On the Phoenix Suns right here each and every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. Well, we haven't been here a lot at this point of the season. It hasn't been a lot of times where you and I have been discussing back-to-back losses from the Phoenix Suns. And that's a good thing. Meaning, over the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about a lot of wins, some win streaks. At one point, the Suns won like 5 games in a row. And then they've hit their tough part of their schedule. The Suns are clearly a team that takes care of business against the Sacramento Kings or, the Pelicans a couple of weeks ago. The teams that are worse than them and considerably worse than them, they will not only beat them, but they'll beat their ass. And now they've gotten to the bit of the harder part of their schedule. Last night against the Oklahoma City Thunder, obviously there was no show last night, given the fact that I only saw about half that game. I went back and rewatched it, but it was far too late to recap the game then, so we'll talk a little bit about that today. And then we'll talk about the Denver Nuggets, obviously the fresher loss in the head of everyone's mind, in the mind of everyone's head, whatever. And I will say this. If your instant reaction to this game is, well, the Phoenix Suns just aren't very good. They're not as good as we once thought. See, I told you, they only beat up on bad teams. It's like you're just waiting. Not a lot of Suns fans will do that. I think that's the pessimistic Suns fan who has been hurt far too many times. Like, I feel for those people. But we all know there's a lot of people out there that are not wanting to buy what the Phoenix Suns are selling. Not believing in what the Phoenix Suns have been doing over the larger part of the last month. And what I'll say to that is, you're just looking for the first slip-up of the Suns to say, oh, see, they're not very good. See, I told you. See how they played 2 good teams? They lost back-to-back times. And it's like, can we add a little bit of substance to that? Last night, we'll talk about that a little bit more in the next segment. Some of my thoughts of that. But a quick, 30 seconds on it is, the Oklahoma City Thunder might be the best team in the Western Conference. Well, people say, well, why do you say might be? They definitely are. It's just a differencing of opinions. I think the Denver Nuggets are the best team in the Western Conference. Potato, potato. The Suns in the last 2 days have played the 2 best teams in the Western Conference. We're not arguing about it. And in the last week, they played what I think are the top 3 teams in the Western Conference. The Houston Rockets, the Denver Nuggets, and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Tonight wasn't the Phoenix Suns maybe just aren't as good as we thought. They're 0-3 against those 3 teams. Let's add some substance to it. There's still no Jalen Green. Grayson Allen played tonight, but in some stretches was a little invisible. Wasn't terrible, I don't think, tonight. Doing what he can do, coming back from injury, getting his legs out from under him. 4 for 11's not great. 2 for 7 from 3 is not great. But, what are you going to do? There's some other things that Grayson Allen did tonight defensively that I thought added to it that you won't see on the box score. The way you should be taking this game is not the Phoenix Suns are worse than we thought. It should actually be, holy bleep, the Denver Nuggets are really freaking good. Jordan Ott talked pregame, when I was in the press conference talking about, getting out on shooters, the, defensive rotations. And you saw that tonight with the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets are the best team passing the basketball. They whipped that thing around, no issues, and a lot of it is due to Nikola Jokic and his ability to find players open more than anyone else in the league. The best passer in the league is a 7'1" big. Also a pretty damn good shooter, and tonight almost had a triple-double. 1 rebound shy of a triple-double. The Suns did if we're talking about like X's and O's, what did the Suns not do well tonight? They did a really bad job getting out on shooters tonight. If I'm not mistaken, I haven't looked at it yet. I looked at it, as I was watching the game, but I haven't looked at it in the last quarter and a half. If I had to guess, the Denver Nuggets shot 56, 57% from three. And as I look at it now, they shot 58% from three. You're going to lose a lot of games where you're playing against what I think is the best team in the Western Conference, and they also shoot nearly 60% from three-point land. You're just going to lose those games. So it's not something the Suns should hang their head on. I think it's a learning opportunity to not do this one thing that I think the Nuggets took advantage of all night long. We're all well aware of the two-man game of Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. I want to say it really starts up at the top of the key, but it really can start up anywhere. Those two's chemistry is absolutely off the chart. They know They know where they're going to be, ins and outs. They know each other like the back of each other's hands. And a lot of times tonight, Nikola Jokic, what I saw, this is what I saw from the game, would come up to somewhere near the top of the key, somewhere near the top of the free throw line, would set a hard screen on whoever was guarding Jamal Murray, usually a guard, whether it was, Colin Gillespie or, Jordan Goodwin, or sometimes it'd be players like Nigel Hayes-Davis. And the one thing that I think the Suns did really, really poorly tonight was every time that switch came, they gave it up immediately. Meaning, Nigel Hayes-Davis, Jordan Goodwin, Colin Gillespie, one of those three players was then switched on to Nikola Jokic. And Nikola Jokic could do one of two things: back down the smaller defender easily in the post, draw a foul, because oftentimes the referee would just assume that you were fouling Nikola Jokic if you were a smaller player and he missed a shot. And he would either do that, he'd either back you down, get to the hoop, draw a foul, or this is what happened a lot tonight, which is why I say the Suns did not do a very good job getting out on shooters. They would rotate over to Nikola Jokic. So, whatever, Dillon Brooks, let's just use him for an example, would rotate over to Nikola Jokic. Dillon Brooks, Colin Gillespie would double-team Jokic, and he would find Tim Hardaway Jr. open for three. Peyton Watson, if you want to throw that name out there, open for three. They'd find Jamal Murray open for three. Bruce Brown, he didn't have any threes tonight, but they'd find him at one point, try to find him for a three. Or a lot of the times, the Suns would give up on the dribble handoffs. Jamal Murray to create a little bit of space, and he hit a three-point shot. That, I say it can't happen, but a lot of teams are trying to stop that, and they're having a really hard time doing so. So the Suns, who aren't a top echelon 3 team in the Western Conference, are going to have a really hard time doing that. And so I think when you play Nikola Jokic, and again, this is my thought behind it. This isn't Jordan Ott's philosophy behind it. You kind of just got to let him get his. Meaning, you got to let him get 35, 40 points. And guys, I'm not saying that's a winning recipe. What I'm saying is, when you have Nikola Jokic having, 27 points tonight? I want to look at it. When you have Nikola Jokic having 26 points tonight, he had 26 points on 7 shot attempts. He made all of them, but he had also 11 free throw attempts tonight, made 10 of those. So when you have Nikola Jokic, who does a good job getting his no matter what, had 26 points tonight, but he's also getting open looks for Tim Hardaway Jr., Jamal Murray. Those guys catch fire and then see a hula hoop attached to the backboard, not a normal size rim. And, that's what I would do. Again, I'm not Jordan Ott, but I think you just got to play Nikola Jokic straight up, allow him to get his, and don't allow him to get other players involved. That's exactly what the Suns did in 2021 when they swept the Denver Nuggets. Granted, that team was running out Frank Campazzo and, Aaron Gordon, who's a good player, but it was just Aaron Gordon. So, those types of things are what happened tonight. The Nuggets just ate apart the Phoenix Suns, shooting the ball from deep. And, the lesson of tonight's game, I think the lesson of the last two nights is not that the Phoenix Suns aren't as good as we once thought they were. That's not fair. I think what was confirmed tonight, because let me back up. I do think with the way the Suns have been playing over the last couple of weeks, you could have said to yourself, well, maybe they can compete with some of these teams. They were playing that well. And it wasn't just me saying they could play that well. They were winning games by 20 points. They were up 18-plus points in 9 straight games. So I didn't ever believe this, but there was a thought in the back of your mind maybe they're just one of the best teams in the Western Conference. What you learned tonight was, okay, that's not true. That's not true. Maybe it could come true, 3 months from now. Maybe the Suns transform and they get all their guys back. That could happen. But playing against OKC, which we'll get a little bit more into that in just a second, and playing against Denver tonight showed you, okay, you're not in the class of those teams. And there's nothing wrong with that. We never thought the Suns were going to be in the class of those teams. The fact that there was a 2% chance in the back of our mind that we were thinking that could be the case because of how well they'd been playing is a total net positive. But I'm not coming away from this game thinking to myself, well, the Suns just aren't good enough, because they are. And it started off immediately in this game where they forced 4 turnovers right off the bat. I am thoroughly still impressed with this Suns team and thoroughly impressed with their ability to play with this kind of tenacity every single game. They kind of ran out of gas in that third quarter. That's expected after a back-to-back with OKC. But I'm impressed with this team's tenacity, the fact that they stay ferocious in everything they do. And I'm not going to kill them tonight. Denver's really freaking good. They were my pick to win the NBA championship before the season started. With that being said, I'm going to keep talking about Devin Booker. I'm going to keep talking about his struggles. Everyone's going to be able to hear me when I do it. There is no music on. Dylan Brooks is, a couple of feet in front of me. Players, we're going to talk about Devin Booker, and we're going to do it next. Today's episode is brought to you by DoorDash. Apologize for that, guys. Had a second there. The NBA season is heating up, and DoorDash has found the perfect way to keep fans in their bag all season long. Whether you're watching for the highlights, your fantasy team, or just your favorite player, DoorDash makes every game night even better. DoorDash is the official on-demand delivery platform of the NBA, and they're celebrating with something called the Bag Drop. Every time an NBA player scores 50 points in a game, DoorDash drops 50% off your order with Dash Pass the next day. And you're automatically entered for a chance to win the ultimate fan bag. We're talking about player-inspired drip, exclusive gear, and stuff you'll actually want. DoorDash has you covered for late-night highlights, last-minute watch parties, and double OT fuel up. So next time someone goes off for 50, use promo code NBA50 the next day to get 50% off on DoorDash with Dash Pass. Plus, your shot at the bag drop. Dash Pass members only, 50% up to $10 the day after a 50-point game with promo code. Terms apply, no purchase necessary. Ends April 13th. Open U.S. residents 21 or older. Visit DoorDashinYourBag.com for full details. DoorDash in your bag all season long. So we're going to continuously talk about Devin Booker. I'm not one to shy away from my criticisms of anyone, and I think it would be very it would be inauthentic of me to not mention Devin Booker. And I don't know what you want me to say. Denver doesn't have the player on the floor tonight that you can throw at Devin Booker and say, I'm going to stop you from dropping 40. We mentioned that a couple of weeks ago. The Timberwolves have that. Jaden McDaniels is a freaking animal. I think the Spurs have that a little bit. Devin Vassell, you could throw at him. Jeremy Sohan, you could throw at him. Both pretty good defenders. And he didn't play well in that game. I don't chop it up to those guys being elite, but that could have that too. And you had the Rockets game. Amen Thompson's a freaking elite defender. And then what do you do when you blitz him? You bring Jabari Smith Jr. over. And they've got player after player to make the Suns' life a living hell. But, like, as Cam Johnson's sitting right in front of me, like, Cam Johnson's not going to, stop Devin Booker from dropping 40. He's a good defensive player. He's a good 3-and-D player, but he's not the ferocious, stuff you in the locker type of defensive player. He's a complimentary defensive piece and a good complimentary defensive piece. But here's my problem. It's pretty clear what the issue is with Booker, but it's not an excuse anymore. Booker is getting thrown double and triple teams. That happened again tonight, and he is not getting up shot attempts. But this team, this is a praise for Colin Gillespie, as well as I don't want to say it's a diss, it's just the truth, as well as a harsh truth for the Phoenix Suns. Colin Gillespie cannot be this team's best player. And Colin Gillespie, over the last 5 games, has been the Phoenix Suns' best player. Devin Booker has to get it figured out. Well, Ben, it's not fair. He's getting thrown 3 bodies at him every single night. I like Devin Booker. I voted him a top 15 player. I can't believe you have to say this every time you criticize Devin Booker. People just think I hate Booker because I'm honest about some of his struggles recently. But top 15 player, multiple-time NBA All-Star, finished 5th in MVP voting one year. He's an elite-level player. He's going to make the Hall of Fame one day, and soon he'll be crowned the greatest Phoenix Sun of all time. It's not an excuse to just say, well, they're trapping him, they're blitzing him, they're throwing triple and double teams at him. That's not an excuse. Devin Booker is a supermax player. If Devin Booker is a supermax player, you cannot consistently take him out of games. There are going to be days where Nikola Jokic isn't awesome, where Shai Gilgeous-Alexander isn't awesome. In fact, through the first 2.5 quarters of that game yesterday, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was not awesome. There will be days where Luka Doncic is not awesome. Steph Curry in his prime, Kevin Durant in his prime, LeBron James in his prime. That happens. It cannot be a consistent thing where the opposing team knows we can stop Devin Booker if we do this, and it will work. We're just going to throw 2 bodies at him every night, all night. You can't just tell me when Jalen Green comes back and he gets all of his bodies. I'm going to be the quick injury update for Ryan Dunn. I'm not a doctor. I don't know anything about it. But I saw him post-game with, I think it was his family or family friends, and he's using that hurt arm pretty, loosely, liberally, I guess I would say, to she was playing with I'm sure a family friend's daughter, or just a younger girl, and kind of playing with her. But he was using that right hand. He wasn't ginger with it. He was moving it around like this, and I'm assuming he'll be back soon. Is what I'm saying. Again, I'm not a doctor. I'm just telling you what I saw. I don't know. But the excuse cannot be, once Devin Booker gets his guys back, Devin Booker will be great. I know that. You don't give someone $75 million a year if he can consistently be pulled out of a game by just throwing a bunch of bodies at him. Because teams did that with LeBron, Luka, Steph for years. Kevin Durant, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander now, you can't pull them out of games. You can't. They will figure out a way to get their 20 points at minimum efficiently. This is a combination of a Devin Booker problem and a Jordan Knott problem. Jordan Knott needs to do a better job scheming up Devin Booker when he hasn't had a look in 4 to 5 minutes. And tonight, Devin Booker wasn't terrible. But he wasn't great. Shot 5 for 11 tonight. The reason why I say he's not great is because he only had 11 shots tonight. That was tied for the 3rd most on the team, tied with Grayson Allen, who played 26 minutes tonight and only had 11 shots. He was 5 for 11, whatever. He had 15 free throw attempts. He made 14 of them. So those 24 points, 14 of them came from the free throw line. I know that they all count, but some of those came towards the end when the game was already out of reach. Booker has to get involved more early. He had 8 shot attempts at halftime, which means he had 3 more shot attempts in the second half. Part of that is Devin Booker needs to get more aggressive, and you kind of saw that towards the end, getting to the foul line and stuff. But part of it is also Jordan Ott needs to do a better job at getting his guy involved. And it's not entirely Jordan Ott's fault. This is mostly a Devin Booker issue. But this team goes as Devin Booker goes, and he can get it figured out. But I think sometimes it's a mental thing for Devin Booker, where when shots aren't falling, he gets really frustrated. He, tries to get foul calls. Sometimes he doesn't get them. It pisses him off even more. He'll get a technical foul, and the game gets in his head. It's not a slight at Booker. It's just what happens sometimes. And I think right now he's in his own head. Because I think actually playmaking-wise, again, I haven't looked at the stat sheet yet, but from watching the game, I would say Booker had less than 3 turnovers tonight. So what would that mean? 1 or 2? And as I look at the stat sheet, Booker had 1 turnover tonight. So my eyes don't deceive me. I actually think he's done a pretty good job swinging the ball around, attacking the defense, and getting the ball over to open shooters. But on nights where the Suns shoot 33% from 3, shot 42 of them, made 14 of them, Booker looks worse because he's not getting involved. He's being a passive player because he sees someone open. But I trust Devin Booker to get shots more than I trust Jordan Goodwin, Oso Ighodaro, even Royce O'Neal, even though he's been great this year too. Royce O'Neal had almost more three-point shot attempts than Devin Booker in this game. He had 10 three-point shot attempts. Devin Booker had 11 shots overall tonight. You got to do a better job at getting Devin Booker involved. And tonight kind of looked like a Major League Baseball team going up against a minor league baseball team. The Nuggets dropped 133 points in the Suns the first game. They dropped 130 points in the second game against the Suns. And Devin Booker shares some blame in that. I hate that I have to dance around Booker stuff because then it's just, well, you're a hater. No, I care about this team and I care about Devin Booker and I want to win games. He's got to be better. Let's look at some box score stuff. The Phoenix Suns also did advance in the NBA Cup. I want to do 2 minutes on that really quickly, and we'll talk about that and much more next. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets to a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Hey, the Arizona Cardinals are playing tomorrow. You feel like you just want to, put, $5 down and win your first bet. Maybe just bet against the Arizona Cardinals, against Tampa Bay Buccaneers tomorrow if you want to do that. Or maybe you want to bet it for the Phoenix Suns, playing them in the NBA Cup. They are a plus 550 favorite, the longest shot to win the NBA Cup. So right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. So, enough of the Devin Booker stuff. Although I will say, it just does get really frustrating that you can't check Devin Booker because you're afraid that the fan base is going to be on your head because you just get labeled a Devin Booker hater. But, this is my brand. This is who I am. I'm going to be unapologetically and authentically me. I'm going to go after any and all players in all of the Arizona sports market. So, I got to wear that. I just got to wear that. And Booker's just got to be better, man. So here's the other things that I'll say tonight. The Suns got out to a really good start, forcing 4 turnovers, and they only had 7 of them tonight. It was a really bizarre game because you have the Denver Nuggets who shot 58% from the field, 58% from 3, and shot less free throw attempts from the Suns, had 10 more turnovers from the Suns, had 23 points to the Suns, 7 points conceded off turnovers, and they dominated the Suns. They absolutely dominated them. And here's the thing that I'll say about that. Because the Suns yesterday took the Oklahoma City Thunder down to the wire, where I think you can make some arguments to say that if a couple of foul calls went the Suns' way, that they probably win that game. Here's what I'll say. Be careful. Be careful calling losses moral victories. Like, at some point, you have to win those moral victories. So yesterday, although I'll let it slide, losing to the Oklahoma City Thunder, I get why Suns fans called that a moral victory. You went on the road into one of the most hostile environments in basketball, and you gave the Oklahoma City Thunder everything they could handle. And it's one of the things where, like, that was the example I used at the beginning of the year, which was Oklahoma City's going to come into this building, or the Suns are going to play Oklahoma City in Oklahoma, and the Oklahoma City Thunder are going to take it as a game, as a random Friday night game playing Phoenix, and they're going to think they can play their B-, B+ game, and they're going to lose that game, or they're going to barely win it. And the Oklahoma City Thunder, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander said this yesterday, are going to say, damn, that was supposed to be an easy game. That team is exhausting to play. And exhausting they were. And so there's the moral victory of it. You proved that you can hang with the big dogs. I don't want to use that as some sort of copium to make yourself feel better about a Phoenix Suns loss. A loss is still a loss at the end of the day. And I don't want to get caught up in saying, well, we lost the Denver Nuggets close, which they didn't. They got their doors blown off. We got Kamad Malawach and Bashir Fleming minutes. And same with the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Oklahoma City Thunder thing is frustrating as well because it's like, yeah, you did take him down to the wire. And I understand the moral victory, but just be careful calling things moral victories because at some point you do have to win those games. And I don't want to set the standard that it's just okay to lose close. And that's something that was kind of on my chest after yesterday's game. Here's the other thing that I also want to mention before we end tonight. Let's see if he's around here. You know, I don't want to be super rude, but I don't get the Nigel Hayes-Davis thing. I still don't understand the Nigel Hayes-Davis thing. I didn't understand it when they signed him. I didn't understand it when I saw him in the preseason. I know sometimes people can get frustrated with my opinions, but they're backed up by me actually watching the game. And I will tell you, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to blow smoke. And this is one of the things where if you've been watching for a few months now, you're like, yeah, Ben was kind of right on that. The Nigel Hayes experiment has failed miserably. I don't think he's that great of a defender, like at all. I've seen the Suns tried to gas him up as a defender. I don't see it. He's kind of a tweener. I don't think he's very quick laterally. I think players blow by him. I think sometimes he has some really dumb turnovers and some really dumb fouls. But here's my theory. Like we all know, I think Rasheer Fleming should be playing over Nigel Hayes-Davis. But here's my theory. Here's my quick theory, and I want to get this out there because I think it's worth it to bring it up. But I think Jordan Ott, in one hand, really values smart NBA players with a high basketball acumen. And I will tell you, I think Nigel Hayes-Davis is a very smart basketball player. I think he'd make a very smart media member breaking down basketball as an analyst. But there is a difference between knowing the play and actually executing the play. Knowing the defensive assignments, knowing where you're supposed to be, and actually executing it. But I think Jordan Ott, who's a very cerebral, smart basketball mind, values Nigel Hayes-Davis more than he does a rookie who he's just going to assume's basketball mind isn't to the caliber of Nigel Hayes-Davis. But I'm here to tell you that needs to change because you're getting all the same mistakes from a rookie with none of the upside and experience from a veteran that Nigel Hayes-Davis is supposed to bring to this team. So this is my short way of saying, and we'll get deeper into it later in the week because we're running out of time, that Rasheer Fleming should be playing. I thought I saw some good stuff from him late in this game, but it's really hard to evaluate garbage time. He had 5 points in this game, a bucket to the rim, and a three-point corner shot. I just think he offers more to this team than Nigel Hayes-Davis. He's twitchier, he's younger, he's longer. I think he's a better defender, and I'd be willing to live with the ups and downs from a rookie than I would from the veteran who doesn't have a lot of upside and continuously has mental lapses. So if I was Jordan Knott, I'd make that switch right away. We'll get deeper into that later in the week. But I just wanted to say that because it happened again. And here's the other thing I'll say. Here's the last thing that I'll say. It's a little everywhere, but we missed a couple of games, and we're getting all to it tonight. Briefly. I'm not going to act like I care about the NBA Cup, but the Suns did advance through the NBA Cup. I still don't understand the NBA Cup. Because it's like, if you win it all, cool. Like, even the final game of the NBA Cup isn't recorded for stats. It's not a win-loss game. It's just a tournament game. And I don't get it. I don't get it. But the facts are the facts. The players play harder in these group games, in these semifinal games. We'll see if the final is like that too this year. And none of that, to me, really matters. I guess it does a little, because the Suns won enough games and kept games close towards the end, or the game close towards the end, to advance. But it's just interesting to me that the Suns, the Vibe Suns, the Suns team that no one was taking seriously at the beginning of the season, not us, but the exterior NBA world, it's just funny that in a playoff-like environment they advanced. And I think that says something. So even though, like, if the Suns win the NBA Cup, whatever. Like, I'm rooting for them to win these games, but it just, like, it's not going to move me as much, I don't think. Maybe it will. I don't know. I'm an Arizona sports fan. I've never won anything. Maybe it does move me. But it's just another example of this Suns team meeting or exceeding all your expectations. At the beginning of the season, you and I both, if we're being realistic, would never thought they were going to advance. And they're the wild card out of the Western Conference, and they advanced, and that's pretty impressive to me. And so it's just another indication to show this team is growing, and they're better than we think. With that being said, guys, appreciate you guys being here on this Saturday night, Sunday morning edition of Locked On Phoenix Suns. We will have that show again tomorrow, but Thanksgiving has come and gone. I was busy, and I got you guys a makeup show today. I hope you guys had a heck of a Thanksgiving. And here's another thing. If we're just talking about being grateful, I don't want to, let's just say this. You guys are providing for me in ways younger Ben would have never thought of. But it is so cool that I get to be able to come here, get paid to do this, and to share my opinions with you guys. So although maybe I can be a little wacky and you guys don't love my opinions all the time, and sometimes I could overthink a couple of things, and sometimes I could be smart. We'll give myself that. Sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. It is all because of you guys. And because of you guys, I get to support my family doing this alongside another job. I'm not that cool yet. But thank you. I am so thankful for the Locked On Podcast Network and all the people that tune in. So thank you for doing that. That's enough of that. That's enough of being That's enough of being, feelings. But thank you guys. With that being said, I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, follow me on all social media platforms at right here, Ben Garcia Show. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow for another edition of Locked On Phoenix Suns. Stay safe, guys. Go Suns.